Good morning, everyone. It's a privilege to be here again at Africa Down Under with Your Excellencies and to follow, albeit briefly, Australia's Minister for Foreign Affairs with a story of success for Sandfire and Botswana. But before we start, I would like to acknowledge, as we always do, the traditional custodians of the land on which we stand, the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation, as well as the Yaganyanaya, the Djinjarana, and the Jidi people whose respective land surrounds and hosts our DeGrussa operation in the northwest of this state that is now in care and maintenance. We pay our respects to their elders and leaders, past, present and emerging. This morning, it is my pleasure to describe our Motheo mine's remarkable journey from discovery to production, our commitment to sustainability and economic contribution, and Sandfire's plans for the future, which are underpinned by Botswana's celebrated democracy, stable fiscal regime and regulatory environment, and its differentiated position, ranking number 1 in Africa in the Fraser Institute's survey of investment attractiveness. Sandfire is based here in West Perth, and we have a long history of discovering and developing high-quality copper assets. Today, we are the largest pure-play copper producer listed on the Australian Securities Exchange, with a market capitalisation of around $5.75 billion Australian dollars, which of course is underpinned by our strategic position into highly prospective copper belts, namely the emerging and highly prospective Kalahari copper belt and the Iberian pyrite belt in Spain. Premised upon this unique position and strong foundation, we have fundamentally transformed our company in recent years, and we're making strong progress toward our goal of being truly sustainable. And with our deep roots here in WA, we're particularly proud to be operating in Botswana, creating jobs for local people, partnering with local communities and businesses, and in doing so, contributing to the growth of the national economy. From construction to first concentrate, the development of Motheo has been a remarkable achievement. The $400 million project was delivered during the highly disruptive COVID-19 pandemic, on time and on budget, and quickly exceeded expectations as we fast-tracked the expansion of processing capacity from the initial 3.2 to 5.2 million tonnes a year and developed a second open pit, which we call A4, in parallel. And while these milestones were achieved in around 1.5 years from first production, it didn't end there, as we're now running the operation at a 5.6 million tonne per annum rate, meaning Motheo will deliver more copper more quickly than originally planned and generate more local jobs and more economic value for Botswana. None of this would have been possible if not for the incredibly supportive environment fostered by the government of Botswana, which has created a stable investment climate for a globally focused company like Sandfire. We were honoured to host Botswana's then President at the time of the Motheo official opening, and we're grateful for the support members of the new government have provided. This is an incredibly important symbiotic relationship that we view more as a critical partnership. Of course, it goes without saying that the outlook for copper will undoubtedly play a key role in our shared success. And I personally believe copper is the place to be in the decades to come, as new mines are taking more time to develop, are typically lower quality and more costly, while the larger mines that have underpinned supply in recent decades are rising up the cost curve and now require enormous amounts of capital just to stand still. And as the world decarbonises and electrifies, copper will remain the conductor of choice for electrons. And that's why we believe the market will stay tight and why we're so committed to our purpose. We mine copper sustainably to energise the future. But we can't do that without our greatest asset, and that's our people. And of course, nothing is more important than their health, safety and well-being. Our rolling group total recordable injury frequency, or TRIF as we refer to it in the industry, was 1.7 at 30 June 2025, inclusive of Motheo's TRIF of 1.1. That's a TRIF of 1.1. While that level of safety performance benchmarks very favourably with our industry peers, we must believe it's possible to have a workplace that is injury-free. And there's no doubt in our mind that an inclusive culture that values diversity will help unlock that next level of safety performance, where our people are free to speak up, they're comfortable speaking up, they're comfortable stopping work when something just doesn't feel right. We currently have just over 2,000 people at Mateo, including contractors, and more than 95% of our direct employees are Botswana. What's more, female representation on both our board and executive team exceeds 40%, while more than a quarter of our global workforce are women. Even though this includes female representation that significantly exceeds local norms in Spain and Botswana, clearly we have much more to do. Put simply, if there was ever an industry that needs to draw from the broadest talent pool, it is ours, given the historical challenge attracting young talent to the earth sciences and engineering. And of course, to keep our people motivated and engaged, it is up to us to invest in their personal development, building on their knowledge, skills and experience so they can safely deliver on their accountabilities. In our case, this must include the opportunity for our talented people to travel freely between our chosen locations of Australia, Botswana, Spain and the US, so they can share experiences, learnings and gain valuable experience and perspectives. Another intrinsic element of our culture and way of working is our approach to sustainability, which is embedded in our purpose and aligns with Botswana's national priorities, extending to the preservation and protection of biodiversity, water management, and our commitment to reduce carbon emissions. We're actively engaging with Botswana Power Corporation and look forward to supporting the development of solar power generation in the Hunzi region in the near future, which of course we know will benefit Mateo, but we really hope is going to benefit other local communities as well, like Kuke and Dakar. We fully understand that our social licence will only be as strong as the difference we make in these local communities. And that's why we're developing a community investment approach that will move towards strategic, needs-based programs that have a longer-term benefit. And we'll always do more where we can. Earlier this year, we donated 3 million pula to the Botswana Disaster Management Relief Fund to support communities affected by severe flooding that followed the generational rain event in February. We also partnered with local emergency response teams to assist with evacuations, provide much-needed food hampers and toiletries to those in need. And again, just like safety, we can and must do more. And we look forward to partnering with the Government of Botswana as we challenge ourselves to build local supply chain capacity in support of citizen economic empowerment rather than rely on cross-border trade. Our growing economic contribution to the Hunzi district and Botswana more broadly is becoming increasingly important. In FY25 alone, our economic contribution was $314 million, with $177 million directed to contractors and suppliers, $100 million to pay for mine properties, $20 million for employee wages and pensions, and $18 million for taxes and royalties. And given the success of Mateo and its accelerated ramp-up, we expect to utilise all tax losses, including upfront capital, in less than 3 years. And our income tax rate is expected to rise to between 27% and 32% over the life of mine, significantly exceeding today's base rate of 22%. As a result, Mateo's tax payments alone are forecast to rise exponentially toward $100 million or 13 billion pula in FY27, assuming, of course, all else is equal, highlighting again the broader benefit that stems from near faultless execution. Moreover, across its current 10-year life, Mateo is expected to inject a cumulative $2.8 billion into the Botswana economy. Here you can see how we've invested more than $600 million in Botswana since 2021. This has been a major undertaking, and we look forward to the next generation of capital projects such as the development of our A1 resource, including the significant 25-kilometre haul road that will open up the Mateo hub to the north. And of course, this is why fiscal stability and competitive terms are so important, as a meaningful amount of available free cash flow stemming from historical investment will be required to expand our footprint and sustain our Motheo operations beyond the currently identified 8-year mine life. Ongoing investment in exploration is one such priority, as the long-term future of Motheo will be secured through the drill bit. Our unrivalled geological, geophysical and geotechnical database of the Kalahari Copper Belt is a real competitive advantage, and our growing understanding of the structural controls of mineralisation mean we are well placed to make the next major discovery in the province. Our confidence is reflected in our growing regional exploration budget, which is set to rise by 26% this financial year to around $16 million and remain elevated for the foreseeable future. As you can see here, that's because our high-quality ore bodies in the Motheo hub are small when considered in a global context, which means we're well and truly wedded to the capital-intensive cycle of exploration, discovery, approvals, project development, operation and closure. Of course, this necessitates real commitment, technical capability and local knowledge, a lot of patience, a bit of luck, and plenty of government and shareholder support. And when these elements come together, almost anything is possible if you're in the right geological basin. In just its second full year, Motheo safely delivered operations EBITDA of more than $300 million at a margin of 60%. So you can see, Motheo is a success story for Sandfire and Botswana. The notion of shared success aligns with our values of honesty, respect, collaboration, accountability and performance. We work hard to be a good corporate citizen wherever we operate and look forward to proving that to the people of Botswana in the decades to come as we do our part to diversify and grow their economy, we hope for the benefit of all. Thank you.